Hey y'all, Phyllis here, southernfrugal.com. I wanted to do a little update on the Class A, and I won't keep you in suspense long. We are pretty much out of the market for a Class A. Mr. Bucky found a Class A. It was a Holiday Rambler Endeavor, 1999. It had 89,000 miles on it. No leaks anywhere. Good engine, good generator. And we had the inspector lined up to go with us to, go over every detail of it. And so we called to set up a time, right? The guy didn't call us back. So we waited another day, made another call. He still didn't call us back. Finally, on the third day, he called us back. He said, "Folks, I'm sorry. I sold that RV 2 days ago." What are you going to do? Mr. Bucky was just beyond fed up. And really, so was I, because we had the inspector lined up, someone who had been in the RV business for a very long time, knew all the details, and of course we were going to have to pay him to inspect it for us. He said it would take probably about 4 hours to go over it. Then he'd take another couple of hours with us to go over everything, to show us how everything worked. Had it all set up, y'all. We were just very sure this was the one because everything was perfect, no leaks. It was the one. So the guy that bought it, the man who owned it, said that the guy drove up from Florida with cash in hand and he had to sell it. Well, we had the cash too, but we were going to get it inspected. Apparently this guy didn't get it inspected, but I think it's probably all right even without an inspection, so he got a good deal. But anyway, so we're out of the RV business, y'all. No more. We've had enough. We have literally looked, I don't even know how many now, and y'all were with us on the trip to that dealership that specialized in used RVs. That was a disaster. That's where I knocked myself out on the little mirror. I told y'all about that. I've still got a little bit of a lump on my head there. It's not very big. It's about that big right there. Anyway, so Mr. Bucky's not on this video because he's outside putting a lawnmower together. Our lawnmower was very old and it died. And so Mr. Bucky had to go get another one, only he thought it was put together, only it wasn't. So he opened the box and there's all the parts. So he's been out there for probably an hour putting that thing together. He's really irritated, y'all, I can tell you. So it seems that when it's the last of the season, not many places have lawnmowers. So I think when he opened the box and saw that it wasn't put together, he would have taken it back and got one that was put together. But they didn't have another one, so he's not in a good mood, y'all. Anyway, so now where are we? We don't know. We don't have a clue. We know if we get the trailer for the tiny house now that we won't have time to finish building it before it gets cold weather. And right now we don't have anybody we don't have a contract or anything on the house yet. And I don't know. We don't know which direction things are going in, but we're okay with that. If it wasn't God's will for us to go ahead and get the Class A, which obviously it wasn't because the man drove up from Florida to buy it out from under us. So obviously that wasn't God's will, I don't think. And so we right now don't know where we are. We even talked about going ahead and building our regular little house that we want to build up there. And I wasn't really in favor of that, because $30,000 really won't be enough to finish it. And we haven't sold this house yet, so I'd rather wait on that. We can't do the tiny house right now because it's going to be cold weather soon. I mean, we've got maybe 2 months we could work, but we don't work very fast. And also, from the time you order it, it takes 2 months to get it if you're having it delivered, which we would have to do because we don't have a truck. We've got a truck, but not a big truck like it would take. So anyway, that's where we are. We're nowhere, y'all. We're just nowhere. And I think we wasted 2 weeks really looking at all kinds of RVs. And the worst was the one I did the video on last time, looking at all that. Well, y'all, I think, only saw two of them, but uh, they all had leaks. So I'll just share with you what I've learned about this, or what me and Mr. Bucky have both learned in this process. I'm not sure we'll ever get a Class A, and if we did, somewhere down the road, it would probably be a new one, because we've searched so long and so hard to find this one that we thought was right. And I still think it would have been right, except maybe that wasn't God's will for us right now. But anyway, I'll just share with you what we've learned. The reason we were looking for a Holiday Rambler, an Endeavor, and a diesel pusher is because, of course, they have more power. They're not like the kind that have the engine, the gasoline engine. They last a lot longer. In fact, if you found one that had 100,000 miles on it, it probably would still be in good shape as far as the motor goes. Now, if y'all recall the first video we did with the 1997 Holiday Rambler Endeavor, it looked like it had 94,000 miles on the inside of it. That's what Mr. Bucky said, and I have to agree. But this one we found didn't look like that, and it was very clean, very clean. So, but the main thing is they have either the aluminum roof, sometimes they'll have fiberglass roofs, but the best one to have would be the aluminum roof. And some of the Holiday Ramblers had the seam down the middle, but some of them, the whole roof is one piece. That's what you're looking for. And also, so many times leaks can be hidden. Might look fine, just looking in the cabinets and looking at the corner of it up there, or looking around in the bedroom and all that. But you could have a leak that you couldn't detect. And so that's why it's real important to get an inspector who really knows what he's doing. And we could tell this gentleman absolutely knew what he was doing. And of course, we were going to have to pay him, but we were more than willing to pay him as an independent, because he didn't know the guy that had the RV for sale. So he would have been working for us, which was a good thing. But I would highly recommend that you do that if you're looking to buy a used, any kind of RV used, that you hire someone independent to inspect it for you. Also, just beware is what I would say, because I think that Mr. Bucky and I had done a lot of research before we started really seriously looking. And so we knew a whole lot before we started looking. And then when we started looking, we sure found a lot wrong with almost every one we looked at, almost every one. But I think probably the worst one was that one for $25,000, that the drawers, and if y'all look back on the videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. The drawers weren't sitting exactly right. Something was major off there. It really was. So, and also, aluminum can kind of buckle out too, but the fiberglass does it real often, and you'd have to do something drastic to get that fixed, which would probably cost several $1,000s. So we knew we weren't interested in getting a fiberglass one on the outside. Now, the travel trailer that we own came with the land. The people that owned the land that we bought had lived in it for 2 years. Everything works in the travel trailer, everything. And it's also an aluminum type siding almost. It's not all one piece, but it's almost like siding would be on a house. And it's under a carport type thing, so we don't have any leaks, nor have I seen evidence other than in the back wall where it ever leaked, and the previous owner tore out a little section of the back wall and repaired that. So our travel trailer is in great shape, y'all. So I mean, we could actually take that to the beach. We actually could, if we had a truck big enough to pull it. We only got a small Mitsubishi little scoot-about truck, which would not be able to pull that travel trailer. But anyway, here's the other thing that happened. Of course, we're always wanting to know, what God's will is in a situation. I mean, He's able to let us know what that will is. Now, how can you know what God's will is in a situation? First of all, whatever it is will not go contrary to God's written word. That much we know. So, in other words, it wouldn't be God's will for you to steal something, I don't think, or to harm someone, that kind of thing. But as far as the everyday things, what I look for is for the way I feel in my heart, and for the outside circumstances to line up with that. Now, if they don't line up, that maybe is not God's will for you, because we have the Holy Spirit inside, and He can give us a witness and speak to us about things, right? So I was having doubts after we saw those that leaked. And that was in one of the last, I just told Mr. Bucky, I'm done. I mean, we had looked at so many, and we only recorded a few of them, but we looked at a lot of them. And I just started feeling like, well, this isn't going quite well, And so anyway, of course, Mr. Bucky started feeling that way too. And but he found the 1999. Everything was right on it, and I feel fairly certain we would have bought that one. And the man comes up from Florida and buys it right out from under us. Just boom, boom, he bought it. So then you have to say, okay, those circumstances did not line up. So I guess this wasn't God's will after all. So now we're just in a holding pattern, and we'll just wait. And we don't want to start on the other house because we don't have enough money to finish it. We've got enough to probably get the foundation in and get the framers out there, and then it would just be sitting there really until probably the spring. And I mean, we could save enough to, do things along and along, but we're here and it's there. So that wouldn't work. So then the same thing with the little tiny house, 2 months for it to get here. I mean, unless someone could just come up with a trailer just tomorrow, we wouldn't have time enough to do anything before the cold weather would set in, probably December, January, and I would say in the mountains even February too, so that wouldn't be good. So what do? Oh, I got to tell you one other thing. So Mr. Bucky is convinced. He's found our Class A diesel pusher. He's convinced of it. I wasn't so convinced, but he was. So, we were lined up the inspector, and was going to set the appointment. And so I suggested, well, why don't we just go ahead and make reservations at a campground at the beach at Edisto or Hunting Island. And that way we can just drive the Class A from 2 hours away and then 2 hours to the beach. And that'll be a good way to try it out. And we'll, just pick up the dogs on the way back, and we'll just spend a week at the beach. So he called. No reservations anywhere. Everybody from up north comes down south to the beaches, to campgrounds in September, October, and even November. So the first opening they had, I think the lady told me the 29th, because Mr. Bucky called, and then he was tired of doing that, so he got me to call. So I called and actually got a lady I could talk with. Sometimes you have to do all that online. And I kept thinking, this is a mistake. They couldn't be that booked up. Nobody would be that booked up at the beach in November even, right? They were, y'all. They were. And so anyway, the lady said that the best she could do was 2 days starting November 29th. It'll be cold as the blazes November 29th at the beach, most likely, and you'll have a lot of wind. Who wants that? We certainly don't. So then, here was the real kicker, I thought, was Mr. Bucky said, okay, we won't go to the beach. We'll go to the mountains. And I said, yeah, we could do, why don't we do that? And so he said, well, what state park do you think we'd like to go to in the mountains? And I said, well, I don't even know what state parks they have in the mountains. And so then he named Oconee. And I said, Bucky, we live within minutes of Oconee State Park. Why would we want to go there? And he said, oh, yeah, that's right. And then I said, well, wait a minute. Our land is in the mountains. Why would we want to go to a campground anyway? Just, y'all, we're old, okay? And he wasn't thinking, and I wasn't thinking either to start with, but then it occurred to me, wait a minute. Our land is in them. If we want to see the leaves changing color, we'll just go up to Mountain Rest and just look at all the trees we want all the time. We live there, or we will be living there. So anyway, then we started saying, okay, what is going on here, y'all? This isn't working out any which way you look at it. It's just not working out. So, I mean, he's pretty much done with a Class A, and I was done before he was. So, anyway, I think now if someone drove up and said, we'll give you the best deal of your life on this Class A, half the price you were going to pay, here it is. Everything works. So I think we'd both say, we're not interested. I think that's what we would do, y'all. So anyway, we're just in a holding pattern. We're going to see where everything goes from here. And I'm good and rested from all that going all over the place in the car. And I think Mr. Bucky is too, except he's irritated now because he's having to put that lawnmower together. But other than that, we're sort of in a holding pattern, and I guess we'll be back to normal tomorrow, yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to update y'all on what was going on there. I have had several people send me emails and ask me what they should look for, and I certainly have told them, as you know, and answering back in the emails as much as I knew on how to choose an RV. And I'll have to say that you really have to be careful. And the most important thing, I think, is to hire an inspector, someone independent, either from the dealership you might be looking at, or a private person, or anything on RV Trader or eBay. You know, if it's worth buying, it's worth getting an independent person to inspect it. And you'll find those, if you just ask around, you'll find somebody who does those inspections. They're usually retired from the RV world, working on RVs, you know, for a living for many years. Most of them are. And they can tell you right quick if anything's major wrong with it, right quick, okay? All right, so that's it, y'all. Haven't been posting because we've been looking everywhere for a Class A, and that's it. We've just been looking, y'all, but y'all been through this kind of thing. Well, I don't know if you have, but we looked for land for 7 years, y'all, and we finally found the perfect land and for us, and who knows, on down the road we might end up with a Class A, but right now, no way, no way. All right, so we will see y'all next time. Bye for now.